Imagine entering a world where every agreement you make is not just a handshake or a signed paper, but an automatic process that executes itself without needing anyone to oversee it. This is the essence of smart contracts, self-executing agreements where the terms are embedded directly in code, functioning on blockchain technology. Think of it as a vending machine. You insert your money, select your item, and the machine delivers it without requiring a cashier's intervention. In the same way, smart contracts operate autonomously, executing actions based on predefined conditions. If you fulfill your side of an agreement, the contract triggers automatically, delivering the promised outcome. This mechanism creates a level of trust and efficiency that could revolutionize governance. Now, let's consider how this might play out in a societal context. Suppose a community decides to implement a smart contract to manage public resources. The contract continuously analyzes data about usage, needs, and availability, automatically reallocating resources where they are most needed. This is akin to a thermostat that adjusts the temperature based on the environment, ensuring optimal conditions without human input. The potential here is staggering, a governance system where fairness and efficiency are not just ideals but realities, as the smart contract adapts in real time to the community's needs. However, as we delve deeper into this thought experiment, we must ask what strange consequences might arise. Could such a system inadvertently favor certain groups over others, or become rigid in its enforcement? The allure of automation brings a pressing question to the forefront. Can technology account for the complexities of human values and the nuances of individual circumstances? What would happen if a smart contract enforced rules that clash with personal beliefs? As we explore these ideas, we begin to grasp not just the mechanics of smart contracts, but also the profound implications they hold for how we might govern ourselves in the future. What if a smart contract could ensure that every community member's needs are met fairly and efficiently? Picture a neighborhood where, in real time, resources like food, housing, and healthcare are allocated dynamically, adapting to the changing needs of its residents. Imagine a digital system that gathers data on community requirements, perhaps through surveys or sensors monitoring environmental conditions, and adjusts the distribution of resources accordingly. This is not a distant dream. It's a tangible possibility with the implementation of large-scale smart contracts. Unlike traditional resource allocation methods, which often rely on bureaucratic systems and subjective decision-making, a smart contract operates on clear, predefined terms embedded in code. Let's contrast this with a typical scenario we might encounter today. Consider a local food bank that opens its doors to distribute meals. If demand spikes unexpectedly, the food bank may run out of supplies, leaving some families without assistance. This system, while well-intentioned, is often reactive and limited by the resources available at any given time. Now imagine a smart contract that monitors the needs of the community. If it detects an increase in demand for meals, it could automatically trigger a redistribution of food from sources that have excess supplies, such as grocery stores or restaurants, directly to those in need. This not only ensures equitable access, but also minimizes waste, as food that might have been thrown away is instead directed to families who require it. The strange consequence is that this system could fundamentally shift the dynamics of community support. With resources flowing based on real-time needs, could we see a decrease in social tension and inequality? If everyone knows that their basic needs are being monitored and met, what impact would that have on community trust and cohesion? It's an intriguing thought, a society where fairness is algorithmically enforced, yet still requires human compassion and oversight. However, we must also consider potential downsides. What happens if the data used to manage these resources is flawed or biased? If a smart contract prioritizes one group's needs over another, we risk entrenching existing inequalities rather than alleviating them. Moreover, how do we ensure that the metrics used to evaluate community needs truly reflect the diversity of voices within it? In our imagined smart contract society, who decides the parameters for what constitutes a community need? As we navigate these questions, we find ourselves at a crossroads. The promise of a more equitable resource distribution system through smart contracts is tantalizing, yet it is fraught with complexities that must be addressed. The balance between technology's efficiency and the nuanced demands of human society remains delicate. If we can adapt and refine these technologies to respect individual values while maximizing fairness, we may just unlock a new era of communal living. But if we fail to engage with these concerns, we risk creating systems that serve only a fraction of our society, leaving others behind in the shadows. Imagine a world where every vote cast in an election is not just a voice in the crowd, but a digital whisper, securely locked away in an unbreakable vault of code. What if this vault were a smart contract, ensuring that each vote is counted transparently and tamper-proof? This is not merely a fanciful idea, it's a tantalizing possibility that could redefine public trust in democratic processes. In traditional voting systems, the specter of fraud looms large. Voter suppression, ballot tampering, and miscounted votes create distrust and disenfranchisement. But what if we could eliminate these issues with the click of a button? With a smart contract, each vote could be recorded on a blockchain, a decentralized ledger visible to all, yet immutable once cast. This means that every citizen could verify their vote, ensuring it was counted exactly as intended. Imagine the surge of civic engagement when people know their voices are heard, without the shadow of doubt. Higher participation could lead to more representative governance, where diverse opinions shape the laws that bind us. However, the implications of such a system also warrant scrutiny. What about the digital divide? While some might embrace this technological advancement, others could be left behind, unable to access the necessary tools to participate fully. Consider the elderly, or those in rural areas with limited internet access. Would they find themselves disenfranchised in a world that demands digital literacy as a prerequisite for civic engagement? And there's the question of how we handle the nuances of personal beliefs and values. If a smart contract dictates the rules, who decides what those rules are? Could a majority impose their will on a minority, leading to a new form of oppression masked as efficiency? The strange consequence is that while we may achieve a more streamlined voting process, we risk creating a society where the voices of the few are drowned out by the many. This is where the balance between technological enforcement and individual values becomes critical. As we explore this thought experiment, we must ask ourselves, can technology not only facilitate democracy, but also protect its most vulnerable participants? What would happen if the very system designed to enhance fairness inadvertently led to new forms of inequality? These questions are not just academic. They are the bedrock of our potential future. If we can navigate these complexities, we might find ourselves in a world where smart contracts not only govern the mechanics of voting, but also enrich our understanding of collective decision-making, ensuring that every citizen feels valued and heard. Imagine a community where decisions are codified into digital agreements, self-enforcing and immutable. Now, picture a scenario where these agreements, or smart contracts, dictate behavior based on a set of values that some in the community hold dear, while others feel marginalized. What happens when a smart contract enforces rules that conflict with individual beliefs? Can such a system truly account for the rich tapestry of human complexity? The strange consequence is that while technology promises efficiency and fairness, it may inadvertently prioritize certain values over others, leading to societal friction. We may find ourselves at a crossroads where the very tools designed to enhance our lives risk alienating significant portions of the population. Consider a local initiative aimed at promoting sustainability through a smart contract that rewards eco-friendly behaviors. This contract might allocate benefits to households that reduce their carbon footprint. On the surface, this appears to foster positive environmental practices. However, what if the contract does not account for those who cannot afford the upfront costs of green technologies? Those who are economically disadvantaged might feel punished for circumstances beyond their control. This raises the question, can a rigid framework accommodate the nuanced realities of individual lives? As we delve deeper, the challenge becomes clear. How do we create a governance system that respects diverse human values within a singular, uniform structure? The tension between uniformity in smart contracts and the diversity of human values is palpable. Imagine a contract that mandates a community service requirement for all citizens, designed to promote civic engagement. While many may embrace this idea, others might see it as an infringement on personal freedom or a misalignment with their beliefs about community involvement. The enforcement of such a rule could breed resentment, leading to pushback against the very system intended to unify and uplift. Now, let's explore a contrasting scenario. Suppose a community adopts a decentralized approach, allowing individuals to opt into specific contracts that reflect their values and needs. This could lead to a more personalized governance experience where people feel they have agency over the rules that govern them. But here lies another dilemma. How do we ensure that everyone has access to these options? If the technological literacy required to navigate these systems is unevenly distributed, we risk deepening existing inequalities. This raises an ethical conundrum. How can we strike a balance between enforcement and respect for individual beliefs? Are we willing to sacrifice uniformity for the sake of inclusivity? As we ponder these questions, it becomes evident that the implementation of smart contracts in governance is not just a technical challenge, but a profound ethical dilemma. We must grapple with the implications of creating a one-size-fits-all system in a world brimming with diverse perspectives. What will happen if the technology we develop fails to resonate with the people it aims to serve? Could we end up with a digital governance structure that, while efficient, ultimately alienates those it was designed to support? The stakes are high, and the answers are not straightforward. In our quest for fairness and efficiency, we must remain vigilant about the values we prioritize and the voices we amplify. Imagine a world where the rules of society are dictated not by the whims of individual leaders, but by a system of code, unyielding and impartial. This is the promise of smart contracts, designed to create a more equitable governance structure. Yet as we step deeper into this digital frontier, we must confront a troubling question. Can technology truly enhance fairness, or might it unwittingly sow the seeds of societal backlash? What if the very tool created to promote justice becomes a source of distrust and division? Consider this: a community where every transaction and interaction is logged, monitored, and enforced by a network of smart contracts. While this system promises transparency, it also raises an unsettling specter of surveillance. Imagine residents feeling as if they are under constant watch, every action tracked and recorded, eroding their sense of autonomy. Would people not begin to resist such an intrusive oversight? The strange consequences that a governance system, designed to ensure fairness, could instead be perceived as a mechanism of control, triggering a public outcry against perceived invasions of privacy. Historical precedents abound, showcasing how societies have resisted technologies perceived as overreaching. Take, for instance, the introduction of surveillance cameras in public spaces. Initially lauded for their potential to enhance safety, they soon sparked debates about privacy and civil liberties, leading to pushback from citizens who felt their freedoms were being compromised. This resistance can serve as a cautionary tale for the implementation of smart contracts. If individuals believe their lives are being dictated by an impersonal code, they may react with skepticism, or worse, outright rejection. Moreover, the ethical implications of implementing smart contracts extend beyond surveillance. Consider the implications of algorithmic decision-making in areas like healthcare or criminal justice. If a smart contract determines resource allocation or penalties based solely on data, what happens to the nuanced human experiences that numbers often fail to capture? The danger here is twofold. Not only could such systems perpetuate existing biases, but they could also alienate individuals who find their needs overlooked by rigid algorithms. This alienation could grow into a broader societal backlash against technological governance, with people rallying against what they perceive as a cold, unfeeling system. To navigate these treacherous waters, engagement and education become paramount. Communities must be involved in discussions about how these systems are designed and implemented. Imagine town halls where citizens voice concerns and offer input on the ethical dimensions of smart contracts. This participatory approach could build trust, transforming potential resistance into collaboration. Educating the public about how smart contracts function and their intended benefits might mitigate fears and foster a sense of ownership over the governance processes that affect their lives. Yet, even with proactive engagement, we cannot ignore the very real possibility that some will resist change out of fear, misunderstanding, or a desire to preserve the status quo. The challenge before us is not merely technological, it is deeply human. As we advance toward a future where smart contracts could govern our lives, we must ask ourselves, how do we ensure that the technology designed to enhance fairness does not lead to societal division? How do we cultivate a culture of trust in a system that some may view as inherently flawed? Only by thoughtfully addressing these ethical dilemmas can we hope to create a future where technology serves to unite rather than divide. Imagine a society where the very fabric of governance is woven from lines of code, where decisions are made not by individuals, but by automated agreements that are as impartial as they are precise. What if, instead of enduring the frustrations of bureaucracy, communities could engage in a seamless dialogue with their governance through smart contracts? These digital agreements, self-executing and transparent, could ensure that every citizen's contribution is recognized and rewarded. Picture a city where public services are allocated not based on political favors or outdated systems, but through algorithms that assess community needs in real time. What would happen if we could harness technology to create an equitable landscape where the rule of law is as straightforward as a transaction on a blockchain? In this envisioned society, fairness and accountability could reach unprecedented levels. Imagine a world where every law is encoded, every regulation is transparent, and every citizen has a voice in shaping the digital agreements that govern their lives. If a neighborhood needs a new park, a smart contract could automatically channel funds from those who can afford to give, while ensuring that contributions are distributed fairly, thereby creating a communal resource that benefits everyone. The strange consequence is that as we embrace this level of efficiency, we may also find ourselves grappling with ethical dilemmas that arise from the very technology designed to elevate our society. But what if the governance of our future is not just a seamless blend of technology and humanity, but a stark reflection of our values? The implementation of smart contracts must be approached with caution, as the values embedded in these agreements will significantly shape our collective future. Suppose a community values privacy and individual freedom, yet the governing smart contract prioritizes transparency at all costs. Would we be sacrificing the very autonomy we seek to protect? The balance between technological enforcement and individual rights is delicate, and ensuring that our contracts reflect the diverse tapestry of human experience is paramount. Consider the potential backlash that could arise from such a system. If a smart contract rigidly enforces rules that not everyone agrees with, could we witness a society divided by those who trust the technology and those who reject it? Resistance to change is a natural reaction, and the history of technology is littered with examples of innovations that were met with skepticism and fear. We must ask ourselves, can we cultivate a culture of trust in a system that some may view as inherently flawed? As we dream of a future where smart contracts govern our lives, we must also address the concerns of those who fear losing their voice in a world dominated by code. As we explore these possibilities, it is crucial to remain vigilant about the implications of our choices. What trade-offs are we willing to accept in pursuit of a more efficient society? The challenge lies not just in implementing smart contracts, but in ensuring that they embody the ethical principles and human values we hold dear. Imagine a governance system that does not merely enforce rules, but fosters a sense of community and belonging. If we can navigate these complexities, we might create a society where technology serves as a bridge, connecting us rather than a barrier that isolates us. The future of governance may well depend on our ability to harmonize the capabilities of technology with the rich, nuanced values of humanity.